Well, hello. Welcome to my new YouTube channel. I know that's what the world needs, is yet another one. My name is Howard Salmon. I'm a photographer, a physicist, a general analog enthusiast, and I've been dabbling in photography for pretty much the last 20 years. Um, Predominantly in that time, while I started off with film photography, like many people, I got caught up in the world of digital photography and HDR. One of the things that I was kind of most known for back in the glory days of Google Plus um, was the sort of emergence of HDR as with regards to black and white photography. I'll show you some of my pictures here that I posted over the years and have on my Fine Art America web store. And but as time went by, I kind of got disenchanted by uh, the whole manipulating of images on the computer, and there were still certain things that I wanted to explore that I could never quite get out of my digital images. And due to a few lifestyle changes and a move from Florida, where we lived at that time, up to Indianapolis, where I'm now located, um, I found the weather, for one, made even less appealing for going out and taking pictures. And I pretty much, you know, gave up photography for, maybe 3 or 4 years, other than capturing images on my iPhone, which has just got better and better during that period of time. And then during last year, and one of the things in the lockdown, being at home, playing video games and this and that, I ended up playing probably not an age-appropriate game for me, but a game called was it Life is Strange, and in there one of the characters was shooting with a Polaroid camera, and it kind of got me rethinking about photography. It was something I've always been sort of passionate about, and got me thinking, that maybe I kind of passed over film photography before it even started. I mean, when I was younger, I dearly wanted to get into film photography. I just coveted so much one of those Nikon F cameras from, the 60s and early 70s. But there were always things that were just way out of my price range. Could not do anything, couldn't dream of having my own dark room or developing prints and stuff. So this got me searching on eBay and YouTube, and I discovered this whole wealth of information. I knew that film photography had seen a resurgence, just like we had seen with vinyl and guitars and all these sorts of sort of analog creative hobbies of, I guess, have been one of the thriving side effects of positive side effects of the COVID and the lockdown. So I started to explore, and the more I delved into it, the more interested I became about getting back into photography, specifically now looking at film photography. And I still had a Canon SLR, an A1, and a 50mm lens, and that was still in good working order. But I started delving into cameras, as people do, and I got myself the Cononet with the f1.7 lens, which is a rangefinder camera. I was always being fascinated by smaller cameras, which you can just slip into your pocket, as it were. And then on the complete opposite side of that, was interested in dabbling in the world of medium format. I've always liked the square format images and of the Hasselblads in the past. And one of the companies I really wasn't aware of was the Japanese company Bronica. And so late last year, I purchased myself a full Bronica kit. This had a full CLA. It's in perfect working condition. Comes with the 80mm lens, which is at this medium format, which is a 6x6 120 format, gives you equivalent to about a 50mm field of view, which is one that I particularly like. And then I picked up a 150 lens for that system as well, and I've been enjoying that. And in addition, I've always really liked the early Leica cameras. This is the Leica 3 series, which was very, very popular. I believe actually this was like one of the most sort of inspirational cameras in terms of other manufacturers building their own products, like Canon and Nikon and a lot of the PET cameras that came out of the Soviet Union. It's also like one of the most copied cameras for many, many different aspects. Well, one of the things I always liked about this is with these collapsible lenses, it was possible to get a very small, and there's actually smaller ones, so you can just slip them in your pocket. They're much more lightweight, and there is, even though it's not a huge difference between this and the later M series, it's enough to make it so that this can be a camera that you can take with you all the time. And I'm one of those guys that has a bag, so it's usually with me wherever I go. So this has kind of now made the sort of modern sort of day-to-day setup of my sort of film photography. I'm still shooting black and white. One of the other reasons that I've always worked with black and white is that I'm actually quite severely colorblind. I really don't have much in the way of sensitivity to red, and as such, color correcting in color photography and seeing contrasts in color images and stuff, it's just not quite the same to me. There's something magical about black and white, both in a way of pulling out detail in images, as well as seeing structure and contrast, and really being able to render everyday scenes in unique and interesting ways. So you see things in the sort of natural beauty of our surroundings that you may not necessarily see if it's just rendered in color, because that's what we normally are used to seeing. So that part of it's been there. And on the other side, I kind of trying to do the whole end-to-end process with this. I'd done film negative developing before, so that was relatively easy for me to get back into. But I also got myself a enlarger. So I have the C33 bezeler enlarger, which can do quite large prints on. At the moment, I'm not really printing anything bigger than 8x10, and I have the film holders there for doing the 35 and the 6x6. That is still a learning process for me, and I hope through future videos on this channel to share more about that side of things. I know a lot of people today are just scanning their negatives, and I do have the Epson V600 by my side, which works great for 35. It's a little finicky for the 120 negative, so I'm on the lookout for maybe some other better film holders there for setting that up. If people have any knowledge of other compatible ones that go with the Epson, then please leave that in the comments. So basically what I'm hoping to do is to share with the community, in the film community, and through comments and stuff, receive information back on how can we do things better, or maybe answering some of my questions as they come up. And I'm hoping just to contribute, because I think that's one of the things that we need to start doing if we're going to sort of move forward as a planet and as society, is to not be quite so isolated, but to share. And that's one of the benefits, I think, of this sort of the internet and this whole sort of global revolution of communication, that we're now able to share our thoughts. And quite often that steers more towards the negative and the sort of scaremongering and other things, but it can be used obviously for a force of good and for pleasure. And hopefully there's not anything too controversial when it comes to pictures, about whether you shoot color or black and white, or whether you're using expensive cameras or cheap ones. None of that really should matter, but I know that that's always sources of contention. So that's what I'm looking to do. In the coming weeks, I will be heading back to my home country of England for a short visit. It'll be the first time back there in 5 years. I've got a few interesting stocks that I will be shooting, both on 120 and on 35. So I have some of the Cine Still XX film here. As many people know, this is the Kodak Eastman 5222 black and white stock. I've never shot, I've only ever shot pan film before, so I'm going to try a roll of the Ilford Ortho Plus, and then finally the high contrast Japanese was it Japanese camera hobby film, which is new film, but it's based off the I believe a film process that was used for security cameras and etc. So I believe the gentleman got hold of the manufacturing process and is producing new film, but based on that sort of original substrate and emulsions and etc. So I will be over in England, in the southwest of England. I grew up in the seaside town of Teignmouth, which is in the county of Devon, and I'll be looking to get out on the beach and the sea wall. It's quite an interesting area. I don't know what the weather will be like, but with black and white, maybe grey days will produce some of the more interesting shots, is whether I can stand up to the cold or not. So I will be kind of doing a blog of that, and then come back and I will share some of my findings. This will be the first time me ever using any of these three films. Typically at the moment I've been using the Rollei Superpan 200 and HP5 by Ilford. Predominantly, that's I think pretty much the only film I've shot since my research, and back in the day I used to use Tri-X. And I think I used the Delta 400, the fine grain ones. But so this is going to be the first time with these. So I look forward to using them. Hopefully I will get some interesting results, some interesting compositions, and we'll be able to come back and report on my findings, and I look forward to sharing them with you. So if you like potentially what's coming here, please like and subscribe to my future comment, and when there is some interesting content to be interested in. So again, thank you for watching, and I look forward to sharing you all in the future. Thank you. Bye-bye.